Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Andre here from MDafterDark. Me and Michael couldn't really get into the same timing today, so I am here up late, putting in extra hours, so then we can get this episode in. I know the last episode was posted way late, and I'm sorry for that, but Allie, now you're off. But it's all we can really do. That's how long it takes my internet to upload the videos sometimes. And yeah, that's just on me. But yeah, very short slate today. I'll go over the college basketball games. Villanova did beat USC in the Crown tournament. Chattanooga beat UC Irvine to win the NIT tournament. They are the champions. And then Cincinnati, I think they beat. Hold on. Cincinnati lost to UCF 88-80. So yeah. And then the other two games, it was 85-86. I think Chattanooga won, or 96-95. It was something around there. And then 60-59 USC lost to Villanova. So yeah. We will start off with the NBA. Not a huge NBA slate today, only 6 games. So I'll go over I'll go over 2 games at a time. The Milwaukee Bucks got a road win over the Philadelphia 76ers, extending their losing streak to 10. 126-113. Giannis with a triple-double, 35, 20, and 17. That is crazy. Kyle Kuzma had 16. Brook Lopez had 17. Gary Trent and Taurean Prince both had 13. AJ Green had 12, and Ryan Rollins had 10. For the 76ers, they were led by Adem Bona, who had 28. Quentin Grimes with a double-double, 24 and 10. And then Yershon Yabusele had 22 points, and Jared Butler had 14. Overall, very good shooting day from the field for both teams. 56 for the Bucks, 48% for the 76ers. But the Bucks shot 51% from 3. That's how you win ball games. 30.8% for the 76ers. And then the Bucks did struggle at the free throw line, though, 66% to the 79% of the 76ers. Both teams had 40 rebounds, and the Bucks won the turnover battle 11-13. So the Bucks, my view on that, they just shot better from 3. Our next game, after beating the Kings yesterday, the Wizards lost 97-109. The Magic were led by Paulo Banchero with 33 points, 18 rebounds. Double-double, obviously. Franz Wagner with 27 points. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope with 13, and Wendell Carter with 10. The Wizards were led by Carlton Carrington, who had 32, 9, and 7. Very good performance from him. And then A.J. Johnson with 11, Alex Sarr with 10, and Marcus Smart with 12. Overall, the Magic shot 46% to the 44% of the Wizards. The Wizards did shoot 40% to the 37% from 3 of the Magic. And then both teams, I thought that was an 80. 88% from the free throw line for the Magic and 82% for the Wizards. Magic destroyed the rebounds, 47-38. I guess it was okay. And the Magic also turned the ball over 5 less times than the Wizards, 8-13. So yeah. Our next game, the Timberwolves got a win over the Brooklyn Nets, 105-90. The Timberwolves were led by Rudy Gobert with a 21 and 18 double-double, and then Anthony Edwards with 28 points. Julius Randle had 11, and then Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Naz Reid in his return after his suspension both had 13. The Nets were led by a bunch of guys. 18 points for Nick Claxton, 17 for Dariq Whitehead, 11 for Trendon Watford, 10 for Maxwell Lewis, and 13 for Tosan Evbuowam. Wow. Overall, the Timberwolves shot 50% to the 43% of the Brooklyn Nets, 31% from 3 to the 30% of the Nets at 3, 66% from the free throw line for the Timberwolves. Ouch, kind of. They missed 7. And then, Nets only shot 4 free throws. They were 3 for 4. Stop licking me. Go out. The Timberwolves kind of destroyed the rebounding battle 45-34, and they turned the ball over 7 more times and won by 15 points. So math isn't mathing. She just sat on the cord. Oh, dog, you are a unique animal. So yeah, our first 3 games, Bucks get a good win. They needed that to keep their momentum going. The Magic beat the Wizards, not surprising. Paulo did damn good. And then Timberwolves, they pick one up. So yeah. Our next game, the game of the day probably in the NBA, the Memphis Grizzlies beat the Miami Heat 110-108. John Morant with a buzzer beater. He had 30 points. Scottie Pippen with 17. Jaren Jackson and Jalen Wells both had 13. And then Desmond Bane also had 17. And then for the Heat, they were led by Tyler Hero with 35 points. Bam Adebayo 26. Davion Mitchell with 11. And Kel'el Ware with 13. Overall, the Memphis Grizzlies shot 47% from the field to the 41% of the Heat. 42%, they both shot 42% from 3. And then the Grizzlies shot 82% from the free throw line compared to the 84% of the Heat. Both teams had 49-47 rebounds. The Memphis Grizzlies won that battle. And then the Grizzlies, they turned the ball over 18 times to the 11 times to the Heat, and they still won. Again, the math ain't mathin'. Second to last game, the Trailblazers, who I will be watching tomorrow, got a win 112-103 in Toronto, which means they will be flying to Chicago and playing. So hopefully the Bulls can get a win. You never know. Trailblazers were led by Shane Sharp, 36 points. I sure hope that doesn't happen tomorrow. And then 26 points for Denny Avdia, 26 and 15. Delano Banton, former G Leaguer, he's been picking it up though. 23 points for the Trailblazers, and then nobody else had double digits, so they were led by 3 guys who had 23 plus. That's crazy. R.J. Barrett was the leading scorer for the Raptors, who had 18. Orlando Robinson had 14. Ochai Agbaji had 15, and then A.J. Lawson with 13. Meanwhile, Jonathan Mogbo and Jamal Shed both had 10. Sorry. Again, another team not shooting a lot of free throws. Raptors only shot 5 free throws. 3 throws. 60% to the 90% of the Trailblazers. We're going backwards here. But the Raptors did shoot better from the 3-point line, 35% to the 29% of the Trailblazers. And both teams, 49% from the field for the Trailblazers, 46% for the Raptors. And then, Trailblazers, for only winning by 9, they had 19 more rebounds. So I don't know how they only won by 9. But they did have 20 turnovers to the 17 of the Raptors. And then our final game, the Golden State Warriors getting a win on the road, 123-116 against the Los Angeles Lakers. The Warriors were led by Steph Curry with 37, Brandon Podziemski, Wisconsin native, with 28, Draymond Green had 11 rebounds, Moses Moody with 13, Jimmy Butler with 11, and Jonathan Kuminga with 18. LeBron James led the way for the Los Angeles Lakers with 33. Austin Reeves had 31, Luka Doncic with 19, Rui Hachimura with 24. Overall, the Warriors shot 47% from the field to the 45% of the Lakers. The Warriors shot 45% from 3 to the 38% of the Lakers. And then the Lakers did win the free throw battle 87% to 84%. The Warriors out-rebounded them 46-39 and had 5 more turnovers than the Lakers. Why are so many teams with so many turnovers getting wins? So Trailblazers getting one on the road against the Raptors. The Grizzlies hit a buzzer beater on the road against, wow. Every road team today won. Bucks on the road, Magic on the road, Timberwolves on the road, Grizzlies on the road, Trailblazers on the road, Warriors on the road. All won. That's the highlight for the day. Our next segment will be the NHL. And again, I will put it out there. I am not a master at the NHL. And for Michael, it will be very easy for him to go over the NHL today because there's only 3 games. So, yeah. But yesterday, since it's 1:49, we will get to it. The Ottawa Senators got a big win over the Tampa Bay Lightning, 2-1. I guess big is like for standings-wise. Ottawa was led by Shane Pinto and Jake Sanderson, who both had goals. Ridley Grieg had 2 assists, and Tim Stutzel had an assist. And then overall, Linus Ullmark, phenomenal night in the net, 96.9% save percentage, 32 save attempts to 31 saves, and only 1 goal allowed. And then for the Lightning, they were led by Brandon Hagel, who had a goal, Yanni Gourde and Ryan McDonough, I guess. They both had assists. And then Andrei Vasilevsky, with an IY at the end, he was 17 for 19 with 2 goals allowed, 89.5% save percentage. So yeah, low scoring game. I could see that would be a pretty entertaining game. Shut up. Our next game, Montreal Canadiens get a win over the Boston Bruins 4-1. Montreal was led by Brendan Gallagher, Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, and Christian Dvorak, who all had goals. Jake Evans had 2 assists. Brendan Gallagher and Nick Suzuki also had assists. Joel Armia had an assist, and Juraj Slafkovsky, Slafkovsky. If somebody could put a pronunciation in the comments, I would appreciate that. But then overall, Sam Montembault had 19 save attempts to 18 saves and 1 goal allowed, 94.7% save percentage. Pretty good night for the Montreal Canadiens goalie. And then Elias Lindholm had the only goal for the Boston Bruins. David Pastrnak and Morgan Geekie, I like that name, both had assists. Jeremy Swayman, 31 save attempts, but only saved 28 of them with 3 goals allowed and a 90.3% save percentage. So yeah, Boston has been struggling this year. I remember when I was younger, they were quite the hockey club. So yeah, this one's a football score. Sorry. The Colorado Avalanche beat the Columbus Blue Jackets 7-3. So these are all the people that scored the goals, and then I'll go over the people who got the assists. Charlie Coyle, Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar, Devin Tays, because it's like Jonathan Tays, but Devon Tays, Miles Wood, Parker Kelly, and Brock Nelson all had goals. And then Charlie Coyle had 2 assists, Nathan McKinnon had 2 assists, Cale Makar and Devin Tays both had 2 assists. Miles Wood, Jack Drury, Eric Johnson, and Arturi Lekonen all had assists. Sorry. Mackenzie Blackwood was 27 for 30 on save attempts, 3 goals allowed, and a 90% save percentage. Then for the Blue Jackets, they were led by Zach Aston Reese, Boone Jenner has a fire name, and Sean Manahan, who all had goals. And then Dante Fabro, Jack Johnson, Kent Johnson, Dmitry Voronkov all had assists. And then, so Elvis Merzlinkins. What is up with these names, man? He had 28 save attempts to 21 saves and 7 goals allowed for a 75% save percentage, even though he gave up 7 goals. That is rough. And then Daniel Tarasov came in relief. He was 4 for 4. So yeah, rough night for the Blue Jackets, but yeah. The next game, the St. Louis Blues stay on their winning ways in overtime, 5-4 over the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Blues were led by Jordan Cairo with a goal, Jake Neighbors, who had 2 goals, Robert Thomas and Pavel Buchnevich both had a goal. And then Jordan Cairo, Robert Thomas, Philip Broberg, Cam Fowler, Jimmy Snurgurud, Oscar Sundqvist. Dude, why do they do this to me? And then Nathan Walker all had assists. And then Joel Hofer was 24 for 28 with 4 goals allowed and an 85.7 save percentage. The Penguins were led by Rutger McGroarty, Rickard Rakell, Brian Rust, and Connor Dewar, who all had goals. And then Rutger McGroarty, Rickard Rakell, Brian Rust, Sidney Crosby, Matt Grzelcyk, Eric Carlson, and Vili Koivunen, oh wow, I actually pronounced that better than I thought, all had assists. Tristan Jarry, A-R-R-Y, he struggled tonight. 14 for 19 with 5 goals allowed and a 73.7 save percentage. So, yeah. Not a very good night for the goalies, but the Blues do get the win in overtime. Next game, the Stars get a big win, and I mean big, over the Nashville Predators, 5-1. Mason Marchment had a goal. Leon Bishkol had a goal. Mikhail Granlund had a goal. Roop Hintz, I like that name, had a goal. And Wyatt Johnston had a goal. Matt Duchesne, Mikko Rantanen. Hey, I remember that. That's the guy that Michael always talks about. And Jason Robertson, I know him too. All had 2 assists. And then Mason Marchment and Maverick Bork, I don't know. They both had a solo assist. Jake Ottinger, Michael's least favorite goalie. He'll like that. He was 28 for 29 tonight with 1 goal allowed and a 96.6 save percentage. So yeah, Michael, did you like that performance? Probably not. And then for the Predators, their lone goals scored by Steven Stamkos, and then Philip Forsberg and Nick Blankenberg both had an assist on that 1 goal. Justice Anunin gave up 5 goals in 27 attempts and 22 saves with an 81.5% save percentage. So a rough night in the goal for the Predators. The Kings, Los Angeles Kings, not the Sacramento Kings, get a win on the road against the Utah Hockey Club 4-2. Drew Doughty scored a goal, as well as Kevin Fiala, Adrian Kemp, and Trevor Moore. Drew Doughty also had an assist. Quentin Byfield, Philip Denault, Andrei Kuzmenko all had assists as well. And then Darcy Kemper, I think that's how you say that, was 28 for 30 with 2 goals allowed and a 93.3 save percentage. Utah, they were led by Jack McBain, who was the only person with a goal and an assist. Lawson Krause also had a goal. And then Josh Doan, Sean Dursey, and Kaylor Yamamoto all had assists. And then Carl Vejmelka had 18 save attempts to 15 saves and 3 goals allowed. Sorry. Who had 83.3 save percentage. So yeah, that's not a very bad game overall. None of the rest of these games really are, except for one where a team got shut out. But the Calgary Flames got a win over the Anaheim Ducks, 4-1. The Flames were led by Blake Coleman, who had 2 goals. Nazem Kadri and Kevin Rooney both chipped in the other 2 goals. And then Yegor Sharangovich, had 2 assists. Rasmus Anderson had an assist. Adam Klopka had an assist. Ryan Lomberg had an assist. And Mackenzie Weegar had an assist. Dustin Wolf, phenomenal night in the net. 26 for 27 with 1 goal allowed and a 96.3 save percentage. The Ducks were led by Olin Zellweger, who had the only goal for the Ducks. Troy Terry and Ryan Strome had both the assists. And then John Gibson was 23 for 26 with 3 goals allowed and an 88.5 save percentage. He was taken out, and in relief, Lucas Dostal was 8 for 9 with a goal allowed and an 88.9% save percentage. So, yeah. And then our final 2 games, the Winnipeg Jets get a big one on the road. 2 heavy hitters. The 52-20-4 Winnipeg Jets shut out the 45-22-8 Vegas Golden Knights. I remember when they were an expansion team. Has it really been that long? Damn. Overall, Adam Lowry, Colin Miller, Cole Perfetti, and Mark Scheffele all had goals. And then Nino Niederreiter. Bro, why is there so many R's in that guy's name? He had 2 assists. Mason Appleton, Kyle Connor, Alex Lafalo, without a capital letter in his last name. And then Luke Shen, and Logan Stanley all had assists. Eric Comrie shut out the Vegas Golden Knights tonight. 26 for 26 with a 100% save percentage. And then I guess we'll go off of shots on goal. Jack Eichel. That was probably predicted. He had 4 shot attempts. Aiden Hill went 16 for 19 and gave up 3 goals, an 84.2 save percentage. And then Akira Schmid, in relief, was 2 for 2 with 0 goals allowed, which means there must have been an open net goal. Whoops. And then our final game of the day, the Oilers get a win on the road over the San Jose Sharks, 3-2. Oilers were led by Jeff Skinner, Victor Arvidsson, and Connor Brown. And then Evan Bouchard had 2 assists. Jeff Skinner also had an assist as well as his goal. Leon Draisaitl, Matthias Janmark, and Jake Wallman all had assists. And Brett Kulak, by the way, had 7 shot attempts. That's crazy. Calvin Pickard, even though he had a good night in net, 27 for 29 with 2 goals allowed and a 93.1 save percentage. And then the Sharks were led by Jack Thompson and Tyler Toffoli, who each had goals. Mario Ferrero had 2 assists. Macklin Celebrini, I'm pretty sure he was the first overall pick in this past draft. I'm not 100% sure. I think that's who the Blackhawks were going to draft if he did not get drafted first overall, if I remember that correctly. And then Alex Wenberg, he had an assist. Georgi Romanov had 38 save attempts to 35 saves, 3 goals allowed, and a 92.1 save percentage. So yeah, overall, pretty okay night in the NHL. I was surprised. Looking at the standings, I don't know a bunch about the NHL. Senators got a big win. Avalanche, they're really good. Stars, they're really good. Jets, I would assume that the Golden Knights would at least put up a goal on their guy, but they didn't. And then Oilers, that's a gimme. And Flames, that's a little bit close. But yeah, now we're going to the MLB. This is where I could actually understand what I'm talking about. Oh, don't worry. If we do end up doing this podcast for a pretty long time, hopefully my NHL knowledge will be a little bit higher before we start the next NHL season, as there are still games going on. I'm learning here, and then I can watch games on my TV. But as of now, I know who Jack Eichel is, and I know who Connor Bedard is, and some other people. So let's just cut me some slack, all right, gang? All right, MLB time. So our first game, the Boston Red Sox beat the Baltimore Orioles 8-4. The Red Sox were led by Alex Bregman and Tristan Casas, who both had home runs, as well as Christian Campbell. Bregman had 3 RBIs, Casas had 2, and Campbell had 2 as well. Jaron Durant also had an RBI. Tanner Houck had 4 innings of 3-run ball, and then Garrett Whitlock gave up an earned run in his 2 innings of work. Tanner Houck also had 6 strikeouts. And then Charlie Morton for the Orioles had 10 strikeouts in 5 innings, but gave up 5 runs. And then Cedric Mullins had a home run, and Jordan Westberg had an RBI, as well as Ramon Urias and Dylan Carlson. I did not realize he was on the Orioles, but hey, I kind of like that. I know he got traded to the Rays last year at the deadline. And then Matt Bowman and Keegan Aiken both gave up runs in relief for the Orioles. Our next game, a little bit of low scoring. The Philadelphia Phillies won 3-1 over the Colorado Rockies to complete the sweep. The Phillies were led by Kyle Schwarber with a home run, and then Bryce Harper, who had the other RBI, which means the third run was probably scored on a error or a wild pitch. I think that means it has to be a wild pitch. And then Taijuan Walker, 3 hits in 6 innings and 4 strikeouts, and then Jose Alvarado gave up a solo home run in the 9th to Sean Bouchard to put the Rockies on the board. That was the only person with a... Oh, no, he didn't give up a home run. It was a double. My bad. My bad, gang. Antonio Senzatella, 10 hits, 5 1/3, 0 earned runs. How? And then Luis Peralta gave up an earned run in his 1 1/3 innings. And, yeah, that's it for that game. The Astros get a win on the road against Minnesota. Astros were led by Christian Walker, Jeremy Pena, who both had home runs, and then Brendan Rodgers, without a home run, had 3 RBIs. And then Hunter Brown, 8 strikeouts in 6 innings, and the bullpen shut him down. Hunter Brown also gave up the 2 earned runs. The Twins were led by Carlos Correa and Trevor Larnach, who both had RBIs. Joe Ryan went 5 innings of 4-run ball and 6 strikeouts, and then Luis Varland, gave up the other earned run, and Darren McCoffin. I knew he played for the Marlins. I just wanted to make sure. He pitched 2 innings and had 4 strikeouts. Yankees stay falling down. Just kidding, I read it wrong. Yankees did not fall down. They fell up. They got the win against the Arizona Diamondbacks today, 9-7. The Yankees were led by Aaron Judge, Jazz Chisholm, and Trent Grisham, who all had home runs. That means the 4 runs that Aaron Judge knocked in, the 2 runs that Jazz Chisholm knocked in, and the 3 runs that Trent Grisham knocked in were all scored off of home runs. And then Carlos Carrasco gave up 3 earned runs and 5 1/3. But Ryan Yarborough struggled. 2/3 of an inning, 4 earned runs. Oofda. Then the Diamondbacks were led by Geraldo Perdomo, who had 4 RBIs and a home run. And then Lourdes Gurriel had an RBI. And Alek Thomas, who had 2 RBIs. Merrill Kelly. Buddy, you did your best Nestor Cortez impersonation against the team that put up like 30 runs on him. 3 2/3, 9 earned runs. And then the bullpen gave up 0 runs the rest of the 2, 3, 4 1/3 innings they had to pitch. And they didn't even have to pitch a 5th inning because they were already winning. So yeah, Diamondbacks. Might have to find a replacement for your starting rotation. And then the game of the day. Michael Hernan would be so happy right now. The Milwaukee Brewers get a 1-0 win over the Cincinnati Reds. Sal Frelick had the lone RBI in the 4th inning. Nestor Cortez, speaking of him, 6 scoreless innings, 6 strikeouts. And the bullpen only gave up 1 hit. It had 3 strikeouts. Okay, Milwaukee. Guess what? You ain't winning the division. You're not even in. You're in 3rd place. So yeah. That's it. Very short day. So overall, we had a 1-0 win for the Brewers. There was college basketball today. The NIT tournament went to Chattanooga. And then, the Wild and the Blackhawks didn't play today. The Bulls didn't play today. And that's it. The Bucks won. The 76ers continue to suck. They better trade Paul George in the offseason. A team better give up like a 2nd-round pick for him because that's all he's worth. But veteran leadership means a lot. And yeah, overall, very short day. What is that? 20 games, 23 games in total if you include the 3 college basketball games. Very short day. There's days that there's, 15 MLB games, and then you have like 12 NBA games and 11 hockey games. And then March Madness on top of it. Luckily, I got to do a solo day where there wasn't very much. So yeah, overall, very good day. I think this went very well. And yeah, so tomorrow, Mike will be by himself. I'll have to teach him how to do this. But yeah, anyways, peace out, everybody. I do not have any parlays tonight. I will post another TikTok tomorrow. So go follow the TikTok and gamble responsibly. So please like and subscribe. We'd appreciate it. And yeah, I will see you all in 2 episodes because I won't be here tomorrow. So yeah, or today, whatever time it is, 2 o'clock. Yeah, it's late. So yeah, peace.